CAF Chairman Professor Ibrahim Lipumba admits to moving subsidy funds into a private account. And in sports, Tanzania's Kilimanjaro Queens ranked second in FIFA's rankings for East Africa. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Yvonne Msemembo. First, the national news. The police force in Zanzibar has arrested 2 people on allegations of possessing substandard sanitizers at an illegal factory. Police said that the 2 have been distributing the sanitizers, which show they were manufactured in the United States of America.
Wakiwa na hizo dawa feki ambazo zingine zimeshakuwa packed kwenye maboksi hapo pale takriban maboksi 27.
There are at least 27 boxes with fake bottles of sanitizer. In addition, they don't have a license to produce such products. They've been distributing to retail shops, so I urge consumers to be careful.
Nje mazingira ndani na kiuhalisia manake si hali mzuri au hali ambayo inasupport utengenezaji.
The environment doesn't support the manufacturing of sanitizer. When I inquired, I was informed that previously they used to make dish soap, but after the outbreak of the coronavirus, they decided to make sanitizers.
Mbona imeandika made in USA, mtengenezwa Marekani? Kosa hilo.
Yes. The label doesn't give the right information. It says here that it is from the United States when it has been produced locally.
Officials from Dar es Salaam, in collaboration with the Rescue and Fire Force, have implemented a spraying operation in various areas of Ilala district, being measures taken against the coronavirus.
This exercise is meant to eradicate diseases which, if we follow the right steps, we can do it well. And today, we've decided to use fogging machines. They should get in touch with us if they're in need of the service. We are ready to help them. We work 24 hours. However, there are those who can't afford to pay for someone to come and disinfect their areas. They should do so. Some areas are inaccessible. However, our vehicle is small and can reach most places. Our aim is to protect the lives of our people against the coronavirus.
The chairman of Civic United Front, CAF, Professor Ibrahim Lipumba, has said the Controller and Auditor General's report showing misuse of government subsidy amounting to more than 300 million shillings given to the party has caused misunderstanding within the party on management of finance. He, however, admitted that the funds were moved to a private account in 2017 when the party was facing a leadership dispute.
Fedha zote zilizowekwa kwenye akaunti ya Masudi Muhina Umari zilitumiwa na chama.
All money deposited into Masud Muhina Umari's account was used to finance the election and in-party activities, including benefits to districts as when required, and all this information was made available to the CAG auditors together with party supporting documentation for 2016-2017, including documentation for the 369 million shillings deposited at NMB Bank to make a branch.
Walikuwa humu ndani na hili faili tuliwakabidhi ambazo lina nyaraka zote.
6 directors from Vietel, Tanzania, who include the Director General, Son Nguyen, have appeared in Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court in Dar es Salaam to face charges on 10 offences, which include causing Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority, TCRA, to incur a loss of 75 billion shillings in a period of 3 years. Here are more details.
The 6 are accused of starting and using radio frequencies without permit from TCRA and using the virtual private network VPN system illegally. They are also alleged to have evaded paying taxes by using equipment which connected Viettel, Tanzania and Vietnam illegally. All the 6 accused are alleged to have between July 7, 2016 and March 26 this year to have taken part in money laundering amounting to 3.03 billion shillings. The accused have been returned to remand custody after the case was adjourned until April the 9th.
Tanzania's ambassador in China, Mbelwa Kairuki, has advised Tanzanians, particularly students and entrepreneurs, to suspend travel to China as the country has stopped receiving foreigners due to the coronavirus threat.
Ikielezea kwamba kuanzia kesho tarehe 28 mwezi Machi 2020.
Yesterday, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs made an announcement that as of the 28th March 2020, all foreign nationals will not be allowed entry into China. This means that anyone with a visa to China residence permit will not be allowed entry until further notice. This is one of the measures taken to prevent new COVID-19 infections from outside China. The ban will be lifted once things have improved. I would like to urge Tanzanians, especially students, not to come back to China. This applies to business owners too. However, things are much better in China and efforts to control the spread of the virus are going well.
China kama hawapo hapa ndani ya China hivi sasa.
Dar es Salaam Special Police Zone has arrested 2 married couples for disseminating false information on coronavirus after saying that there is no such virus and that it was a government ploy to get financial support from big nations.
Watumiwa hao walianza kukejeli lakini wakitania.
The suspects began to mock the government, saying that the government was misleading its people about the presence of the coronavirus in the country and that there was not enough funds to feed students, and this is the reason why schools and colleges had been closed, citing coronavirus as an excuse, and that the government is doing so to ask for aid from other nations. Fellow passengers on board became angry at such utterances. They decided to place them under arrest and instructed the driver to take the bus to the police station, whereby the suspects were once again placed under arrest. Investigation is complete and suspects will be arraigned in court.
Upelelezi wa shauri hili tayari umekamilika na jarada limeshaandaliwa na kupelekwa kwa wakili wa serikali.
Residents from Lake Zone and some regions in Central Zone are likely to face power cuts following theft of equipment used on electricity poles for distribution of electricity. Tanzania Electric Supply Company TANESCO says the equipment was stolen between 2018 and this year.
Nguzo zipatazo 41 zimeibiwa vyuma.
41 electrical poles had some parts stolen, which could affect the national grid, causing a lot of regions to suffer from blackouts. It is true they are not treating us unfairly. Those who sold parts to us work with TANESCO. There is a need to educate the general public about how equipment belonging to TANESCO look like, so we can be able to tell them apart.
Tanzania Passengers Association ARUSHA has joined government efforts against the coronavirus by implementing a spraying operation inside upcountry passenger buses. The campaign was led by the District Commissioner of ARUSHA, Gabriel Dakaro.
We should cooperate with the government, and today we've disinfected our buses so as to protect passengers before and during the journey. We're willing to help prisons and police stations, free of charge so as to eradicate completely this virus because it affects all of us. We must ensure that in public transport, passengers board only at level seat. We must also make sure that we avoid unnecessary gatherings in each area. And remember to remind one another. Our experts in various areas have given out training, and buckets have been placed for hand wash almost in every corner. We must take this matter seriously and wash hands or use sanitizers as advised.
And that is the end of the national news. International news is next after the break. In international news, with relations still tense between Uganda and Rwanda, Uganda has deported more than 342 Rwandan nationals after accusing them of spreading the coronavirus in the country. Speaking via phone, the governor of North Constituency, Jean-Marie Vian Gatabazi, said they have received Rwandans and that the number is likely to increase as more have continued to be deported from Uganda.
It is true we've received 342 people, although there are some that are on their way back. They've been placed under quarantine for 14 days before they can be allowed to go back to their families. Work has come to a standstill. There is hunger. We've no food.
Uganda has responded by saying they have not deported anyone on the pretext of the coronavirus threat, with latest reports saying 4 more people have tested positive for coronavirus in Uganda, bringing the total number of the country's confirmed cases to 18. President Yoweri Museveni on Friday said the 4 had been under institutional quarantine in the various hotels identified by the subcommittee on quarantine. The Ministry of Health in Burundi is continuing with implementation of strategies aimed at dealing with the coronavirus once it enters the country. The ministry has said that it has the capacity to test 300 samples per day and that it has allocated 22 areas along its borders for screening on the virus.
Burundi has equipment and trained experts. They were trained in China, South Africa and Kenya once the virus had broken out. We have 6 machines capable of tasting up to 300 samples per day. We want everyone to be calm. We have teams at the border. We are aware of the lorry driver infected, a Tanzanian national who was going to Tanzania through Burundi.
A leader of the Mai Mai rebel group in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kakule Masivi, and more than 200 fighters in Rutshuru has surrendered their weapons to the government.
This is a sign of peace in Congo. We thank you. I have advice for those coming behind us. They should follow our example and surrender. Like I did, I was not harmed. Security concerns all of us.
And that is the end of international news. Business news is next after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
In business news, 8 shops in Kilombero District, Morogoro region have been closed, and 2 shop owners have been arrested by police for operating without licenses and for violating a government directive on use of sanitizers by customers before entering their shops.
Those selling sanitizers, soap and buckets, they sell at a very high price, something I will not tolerate. They've come up with a new system to con consumers. The bucket and tap are now being sold separately, which becomes rather expensive.
Residents from villages along the border of Buhigwe District, Kigoma region, have said business activities in the area have declined due to the coronavirus threat and after Burundi closed its border. In the last 3 days, pineapples and bananas were not allowed entry. This has affected the economy. We want you to be careful not to bring back any infection. You must remember to wash your hands. Small traders in Shinyanga Municipal have called on the government to ensure sanitizers are sold at affordable prices so that they can implement the directive of use of sanitizers at the business areas.
I decided to improvise a hand wash system so my customers can wash hands as they shop. Not everyone can buy a bucket, but it is possible to find a way for customers to wash hands before they choose the merchandise. You find just ordinary buckets that have been modified and now selling at a very high price.
And that is the end of Business News. Sports News is next after the break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Position, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lend.
In sports news tonight, Harambee Starlets remain the highest-ranked team in East Africa despite dropping 4 places in the current FIFA Women's World Rankings, with Tanzania's Kilimanjaro Queens 2 positions lower with 978 points.
Incidentally, the 2 nations were set to face each other in the first round of the 2020 AFCON qualifiers, but it has been postponed owing to COVID-19. David Olmer's Chargers recently took part in the Turkish Women's Cup competition in Turkey. After defeating Northern Ireland 2-0 in their opening match, they went on to fall 5-0 against Chile before Ghana handed them a 3-1 loss. In the rankings released today, Kenya are placed in position 137 with 986 points, same as December 13, 2019, the last time the rankings were released.
The national cricket team head coach Steve Tikolo has commended the International Cricket Council's decision to postpone all competitions that were to take place before 30th of June this year due to the coronavirus pandemic.
It is not the African Championships alone that were postponed. It applies to all ICC competitions that were to take place before June. They have been postponed. And ICC gave a statement saying they will check how the corona pandemic is going before they provide the new dates for the competitions.
Nigeria legend John Obi Mikel has joined millions of people in the United Kingdom to applaud health workers who are helping in the fight against the coronavirus. Here are more details on that.
The pandemic is currently causing problems around the world and has claimed thousands of lives, forcing major activities to hiatus and affecting the global economy. In the UK, hundreds of lives have been lost to the virus, while more than 10,000 cases have been confirmed. The former Super Eagles midfielder has taken to social media to appreciate health professionals for their efforts in combating the virus.
The Santiago Bernabeu will be turned into a storage and distribution center for medical materials donated to the health authorities as the coronavirus crisis continues in Spain. Here's more on that story.
Ago, the head of the Madrid regional government, Isabela Díaz Ayuso, publicly thanked Real Madrid for what she described as a big donation in health materials after a conversation with the club's president, Florentino Perez. A donation was also made by Atletico Madrid. Now the Spanish Sports Council and the Real Madrid have announced their famous 78,000 capacity stadium will be used to store donations made in the fight against COVID-19. Madrid will use the charitable foundation to receive financial donations and have set up a point of contact to collect and receive donations of materials which will then be stored at the stadium, authority for which has been handed to the Ministry of Health.
And current contracts for players and coaches should be extended until the end of delayed domestic football seasons, according to an internal FIFA document presented to its coronavirus working group. Here's more on that story.
Confidential document seen by Reuters also recommends allowing transfer windows to be changed in accordance with new season dates and urges clubs and players to work together to find solutions to salary payments during stoppages. The document is due to be discussed by members of FIFA's working group later on Thursday. No decision on the issues has been yet taken, which set up the working group on 18th of March and said in a statement that will assess the need for amendments or temporary dispensation to the FIFA regulations on the status and transfer of players to protect contracts for both players and clubs and adjusting player registration periods.
And the sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. Thank you for watching and good night. You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.